I grew up on a farm, and growing up on a pig farm presents many opportunities to learn lessons that maybe you wouldn't normally be able to learn. I remember as a very young boy, I can't even imagine how small I was, but I remember being out on the farm with my grandpa and father, following him into the pig lot as he was probably feeding the pigs, and he would point and say, "Be careful where you step, be careful where you walk." And as a little kid, you're looking at everything and a little bit freaked out of them big pigs coming over there near you, and not always looking where you walked. And so it wasn't very long, obviously, before we found out the hard lesson of why Grandpa said to be careful where you walked. And we came to a complete understanding. The next time in, we were very, very careful. And so this is, to me, an example of what Proverbs 3 is talking about. And just going to look at Proverbs 3, verses 1 and 2 today. And just a short little snippet, a little wisdom snack to help bring the Bible to life. And it certainly brings, this passage brings that to life for me. I remember as the little boy walking through that hog lot, among many other lessons on the farm, very similar to that. My son, do not forget my law, but let your heart keep my commands. For length of days and long life and peace they will add to you. The commandment says, honor your father and mother, that your days may be long upon the land where the Lord your God is giving you. So the commandment said, honoring your father and mother, giving them this respect would bring long life to your life. And it was a promise that attached the commandment. And it wasn't like, if you do these things, you get this reward, but by doing those things, it becomes a reward in itself. And so this is much along the same line, is that my son, don't forget my law. He's given the Father giving these boundaries, much like our Father in heaven gives us these boundaries that our life should be lived by. And within those boundaries, there are rewards, because it doesn't bring problems to our life. So we see through the Proverbs, we see the fool who lives a life in a reckless way, that he, through his recklessness, he brings his own trouble. And so he forgets the law. He forgets the law of the Father, and he is a fool, and he brings recklessness and trashes his own life, brings all of these things crash down upon his life. And we see the sluggard or the lazy man, that the Father would say, don't be this, that you should work hard and don't be lazy, but be on top of this. And so the sluggard misses opportunities in life, opportunities to work, opportunities to be wise, to live a life of contentment, of having that joy of hard work, of being able to share with others, to work in relationship, really in the context of others' lives, have an effect on them. And so the Father is saying, be the one that's wise, live in a restrained life, a life that has restraints, has boundaries, that says, I don't live outside these boundaries, because I know to go that way causes me pain. I know to go across the boundary that way would take away opportunity, would cause maybe pain in even someone else's life. And so I'm going to take this wisdom and be restrained. I'm going to live a content life, not always chasing after whatever waves before my eyes, but I'm going to live a very content, thoughtful, restrained life, be very hardworking, be responsible. And so this is what the Father says to his Son: don't forget my laws, because my laws become those boundaries that you can live within, that'll bring you a very satisfying and safe life. And life is a great adventure anyway. The Lord doesn't try to restrict our adventure, but he tries to keep us from destroying the opportunities the adventure brings. And some of those opportunities are amazing opportunities, and they are opportunities that bring us the idea of growing closer to him, of learning to live our life in his context, that it becomes so amazing and so exciting. He says, don't forget my law, but let your heart keep my commands. It starts in your heart, that it's not just the Father says, do, don't do, but it becomes who we are, that these commands, it says, no, this is the boundaries that I live by. These are the things, the ways, the paths that I will travel, and the paths that I will not travel. And so that is what he's talking about, that becomes our heart, not just a list of do's and don'ts. And to do such will bring us length of days and long life. And so length of days and long life sounds like the same thing, but length of days is an idiom for a prolonged life. It will bring you a prolonged life, and then the long life is actually an idiom for the quality of your life. And so it's the idea of you're not only going to have a long life, but you're going to have a life worth living. It's not going to be just an existence. That you can have an existence out of bounds. You can have an existence outside the commandment, and it'd be an absolute miserable existence. And a long life in a miserable existence is to suffer as Cain, to be thrust out of the garden into a land of toil and trouble, of just having to live the consequences of a sin. And this is where also to live inside the commands, the law, is to live in bounds, to be the closest we can get to the holiness of God in a sin-fallen world. And from that comes a quality of life that is only available in that way, where we think in our culture the quality of life comes from bigger and better stuff and more expensive stuff and chasing, and he who has the most toys wins. And that's just not what the scriptures say to us. And so there's be a length of life, a quality of life, and peace. They will add to you. Peace, these commandments add a shalom. This is the word is shalom. It is not just peace, ceasing from fighting, from being at odds even with other men, but being at odds with God, but a peace that is also a contentment, a completeness of your life. It is engaged in the adventure that God created us for. He created us to pursue, to invent, for poetry, for music, for great things. He created us for that, and so often we use those things that he created us for to do sinful things, to use them to do things that glorify us or glorify man or glorify the values of this world. And so to be in bounds, to keep those commandments at heart, is a long quality of life with a peace and a contentment that only can be attained in that way, and completeness and shalom. Psalm 119 says, great peace have those who love your law, and nothing causes them to stumble. And so, how I love your law. I meditate on it day and night. It makes me wiser than my enemies. And so having our heart changed by the Lord, of living in those boundaries of God, creates this setting for our life that we can operate in a way that will cause others to say, what does this person have that we don't have? They seem to have a joy and a contentment that I can't find in my life, and it opens up opportunity for us to share and say, this is the joy, this is the hope that I have, this is what life is about, and it is about the things of the Lord. So that's your wisdom snack. So, this is the lessons of the Father. I think of, as I said, the lesson of my grandfather of watching your walk in the hog lot, and that is very picturesque and very applicable today, that we live in a pretty tough place. And so you got to walk where you walk, watch where you walk, and watch where you're stepping, because you're going to step in it and it's going to leave a mess on your life. And that's kind of where we're at in this culture. and sometimes it's very difficult to come back and for the restoration of our lives. And we can lose so much by walking off the path. And so greater diligence is due in these days. And so be diligent. Listen to your Father's advice. Listen to your Father in heaven who wants to direct your life, give you a long and happy quality of life, and bring shalom, bring an amazing peace, a peace that is only available through him, a joy that surpasses all understanding. It's only available from our Lord. So hope you enjoy that wisdom snack. Enjoy it, gobble it up, meditate on it, chew it up, and do it again. And till we get another wisdom snack for you. And thank you for joining me today.